Alright, here we go. We're gonna start off with the Samsung Blu-ray player. Step one is you got to take all the cords off. So I'll take the cords. This guy has brass on it, so I cut the cord there so I can pull the brass out of there. And these HDMIs have gold contacts in them, so I'll cut those off, and then I put the cable into my cable bucket. Next step will be tearing apart the whole deal there. So I'm just going to cut those off and then be back. Now we have this Blu-ray player here. Horrible camera work. I don't have anything to hold my camera with. So Samsung Blu-ray player. We have removed the power cord and the HDMIs, chopped those guys off as you can see there. We have, oops, let me do this. We have just a couple screws on the back. That's going to get the plastic top off of it. And once I get the top off, I'll be back. So now we have this guy open. And something happened that this happens pretty frequently. Seth and Taylor, you will be able to have your Harry Potter back anytime soon. But yeah, so got to remove this from here, take all the covers off, and then take the actual DVD Blu-ray player apart. I'm just going to go through all that and pop everything off, get you a view of that in just a moment. Okay, so I've got everything broken apart. We have the two boards here. This is a little extruded aluminum. This is a crystal silver oscillator, that little silver guy there. You know, a little bit of stuff here. Tantalum capacitors. This will be a copper transistor, another thing with a bunch of copper in it. And these, like this black guy, yellow guy, will have silver in those. These blue guys here, those are tantalum capacitors. And this little blue guy down here could be a little bit of anything, but I got to look that up. That's what you find on the board. Of course, that's just a little bit of steel, a little bit of plastic. And then this is the actual Blu-ray DVR drive. It's been flipped upside down because I got to take it apart so I can get this Blu-ray out of there without damaging it. So I'm going to hit these 4 screws that are on the corners, and it looks like there might be a little who knows what. But this here is an electric motor with copper in it. This is also an electric motor with copper in it. We had this guy here, this thinner wire. You can probably see it's not really gold or anything, it's just plain, but Blu-rays always have the gold strip on the larger wire. I'm going to pull this apart and I'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so here's everything in total. We got some copper wire here, a little bit of ribbon wire. This is the gold plated tip wire, which is probably a gold ribbon all the way through as well. Won't know that for many years. We got 2 copper motors out of it there with those guys. The 2 HDMI inputs, which have gold fingers in those. The board, which we already talked about that a moment ago. And then we have this electric motor here, which is actually the one that drives the CD reader. That has a copper motor on the bottom, and then this is a piece of brass. The rest is just a bit of steel. The plugs, you take the plugs out and you pull the plugs out, you end up with a little bit of copper wire there, and then the actual plugs themselves are tin coated brass, so they'll go into my collection of brass and everything. We have the actual reader, the laser eye reader for the Blu-ray and DVD player. These I don't take all the way apart. I just take these and stack them up and then turn them in as what they call a high-grade board or a mid-grade board, where you just get a scrap price for random boards and stuff. Of course, that one piece of steel that was the bottom cage of it, and then there's the plastic. There's a few more pieces of plastic and things that I've put into my plastic recycle box. So that is a Blu-ray DVD player. All right, here's the insignia. I don't know how big it is. It's got to be 40 something. Who knows? But yeah, we're doing this guy. Got to take the back off first. Of course, each one of those holes up there, there's a screw in there. Few all the way around. Have to get this base off. This guy will be steel with a little plastic over it. I gotta get the base off, pull the back off, and then with these, I don't pull the cord off until I find the end of the cord, because there's usually a few more inches in there as well. I'm just gonna knock this back and this base off, and I'll pick back up with you here when I get to all the goodies inside. Alright, so I got the back off. Like I said, I like to wait on the power cord till I get in there because I get a few more inches out of that. Of course, we got our speakers here. Bunch of copper wire rolling through everything and whatnot. A little bit of that. Got to basically, you have your boards here and here that are attached to the back metal part here. These guys, copper stuff here, more copper here. All the wires and stuff are good. These guys are silver. We got these tantalum capacitors, silver guys, relays. We have the crystal silver oscillator over here. A couple of chips and stuff. Most of these guys, they have over here, all your input guys, they have gold pins in them and everything. I'm gonna rip all this stuff off and come back at it once I've got it kind of tidied up a little bit. But that's what the back of a television looks like when you get into it. Here's more of a full view there. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Started pulling all these wires apart and realized that I forgot to tell you that underneath this little plate here, there's also another board, and that's filled with all kinds of goodies. The little MCL capacitors, tantalum capacitors, gold fingers for the hookup, and then that runs in, these are all gold, and then the film, or the wires, these wires run into that strip that goes along the bottom of the whole thing. Random stuff, but figured I'd show you. All right, so a couple minutes later, here we are. We got this business here. See this whole little thing? It's just one long stretch of gold bar on the thing. A few different other MCL capacitors and everything. And then we got, a couple pieces of steel, 2 speakers, a couple of boards, and a shitload of plastic. And then there's one more thing in there that I got to get to. I'll be back in a moment. Once you get the back all the way torn apart, these are the little LEDs that make your TV an LED. The back of these guys, I'm not sure if it's copper or if it's gold, because it could be one or the other. But I just keep it anyways. I'll figure it out when I get that far. But yeah, then you got this big old metal tray here that is all steel, and I can use that to put all my crap in and carry it out, and life is good. But that's breaking down a TV pretty much. Not really, nothing too hard. Just a whole bunch of random shit in there. Thanks again.